Hey, White Rock 85 here from the little chilly basement today. Going to put together the Wildgame Innovations Monsta D, I think it's for digital. This is a 225-pound deer feeder or game feeder. Just give you a basic overview of what's contained, how long it took me, things like that. I did one for the smaller one, their Monsta P, that I used this summer up the camp and outside my house. It's been out there for almost 365 days now and still working fine. If we can see, I'm sure you can see right here, it's listed for $88. I got it for $69. Is that what it is? $69. So as you can see, end of the season sale. Maybe this end of the season in your state, but in Delaware, it does continue on in January. We have pistol season, shotgun season, and muzzleloader season, all coming up in January. And in Delaware, if you own private land or if you hunt on private land, you can feed deer in your hunting area. So as you can see, we got the Monsta D. What do we got on the thing? 30-gallon feeder, 225-pound hopper, digital power control unit. I think that's where the D comes in. It does have poly design, so this is poly, not steel. Built-in funnel and proprietary dome style lid, so I did check that out, and it does have a dome lid, so you're not going to get a lot of water sitting up top of your lid here, which is good. Easy to assemble, we'll see, and heavy duty. And we'll also check that out. Looks like power control. It's got metal legs on it. All looks pretty easy. So let's take this box off the table and put the parts up. See what we got. Okay, have everything out of the box. We have our two pieces for our poly barrel. Again, we have our. This is the unit itself. The spinner, the motor, the battery will go in here, and of course the timer. We have our legs right here, pretty heavy duty legs, and we'll see when we get them out. Have our instruction manual. It's like a bag of hardware. And the lid, and again it does have that rounded design, unlike the bucket, unlike the Monsta P where the water does sit in there. This I could see will roll off of there, so it looks like a good design. And our two pieces. We have the, this is actually the bottom. It has the hole for the either corn or feed or whatever you have in there put out. And of course our top. We'll put that together, and as you can see, so the rain would just go over the side here, and we have our top. So let's go ahead and start to put this together. Okay, here we are with the bottom section, and again we can see a slope design, so when you put your feed in there, you're not going to have a lot of feed left on the bottom that is not going through. That's a different design from the bucket itself, from the Monsta P, the pail design, which I can definitely see as an improvement. So first thing we're going to do, we have a gasket, and we're going to put this gasket in here. Here's your gasket, basically a little piece of rubber that we're going to go ahead and put right into a little indentation we have within the bottom section. Okay, I have the gasket into the bottom piece. You may be able to notice just a couple pieces of masking tape to help hold that gasket in place until I get this top piece on. I did want to pop out a little bit and fall out, so just a couple pieces of masking tape held that in there easily. Might be a little tip for you. So then we'll go ahead and get our top, line it up with some of the holes in there. And get that on there, and then we're going to go ahead and take a bolt and one of the nuts they have, and go ahead and put that, if I have it lined up right. And we have our nuts underneath. I'll probably get my drill out to help with this. And we're going to go ahead and put these all the way around the outside. Here's a quick tip for you. When you're putting these screws into the bottom to attach the pieces together, the nut that you use is a 10 millimeter. This is 10 millimeter. So grab a driver that's either 10 millimeter or get your ratchet set out has a 10 millimeter. And then when you go ahead and putting this on, you got the 10 millimeter in there. I'm going to go ahead and use the drill gun and drill it right up that way. So it is all on there. As you can see, I think there were 9 or 10 of them that go all the way around the outside. So this is fastened together on one strong piece now. And we'll go ahead and start, I think, working on the top. Okay, the next thing we'll go ahead and do is we have a hinge. And we're going to go ahead and put the hinge onto the top of the unit itself. We'll go ahead and line our holes up. And we have some small screws, washers, and nuts to go with that. So I'll go ahead and attach this on. Our top hinge is on, so let's get the lid. Have the lid on, and we have a pin that goes through the lid itself and through these hinges all the way over. And on the other side, litter cotter pin that we'll go ahead and put in there that will hold it in place. Now I have a functioning lid, which is good. And we'll turn this around, and on the other side I'm going to go ahead and put a lock on there so the lid won't blow open. Can't really see locking people out of it. Who cares? It's usually corn or whatever in there, but I think it's more of a wind issue, that in case that wind would blow up and get your feet all wet. So let's go ahead and put that lock on next. So first thing we'll do, put a little hitch on. Just a teeny hitch onto the top of the lid. There isn't any marks actually for the latch piece. So here's our latch, and I'm just going to go ahead and make a couple marks, drill out a hole for that, and put a couple more screws on there, and that will certainly latch that lid down. Alright, in there nice and tight. So now we can have our lid. We can go and shut that and lock that lid up so we know wind's not going to blow that off of there. And instead of using a lock, I just think I'll take one of those D-rings and put that in there. I'll see if I can find one around here right now. Oh, I can't find that D-ring. Doesn't really matter for right now. I'll put one on later. The next thing they actually want you to do is start putting the legs on. So I'm going to flip the unit over. I'm actually not going to put the legs on because I'm going to transport it down to the farm. As you can see, we already have the hole in the bottom of the unit, that of course, but we already have the marks where our unit, our timer unit and disperse motor and everything will hang itself. So you don't have to worry about figuring that out, which is nice. You did have to do that on the pail itself, but we will have to put the spout on and go from there. It really doesn't have good instructions for putting this on. Not really that difficult, but I found that a 7/32 drill bit. Just grab it right here, make a hole with that. Found 8mm nut driver. Works real good for putting these screws in here. Again, you don't want to over tighten those. This one they feel good because I have 2 screws in here right now. Tell you the truth, this is not going anywhere. You know what? I don't even think I'm going to put the other 2 in there, because one thing it does, since these screws do project through to the bottom, they sort of block the corn from flowing out naturally into the opening. And again, this is on here tight. I'm only going to use the 2 screws right across from each other. Look at this. I could just about pick, if I could grab it, I could pick this thing up with it. So it's not going anywhere. I didn't strip anything, didn't loosen anything. Tight as can be. 2 screws. That'll do it. Okay, it took a couple minutes to clear a few things off the table here. Now we have the control unit itself that we're going to go ahead and put together. It's basically a little latch on the bottom. You can open it up, you have access to the inside. First thing we'll do, lay it on its side, and we'll put one of our hangers on there. Go ahead and put the nut through the hole. And again, as you can see, there's a hole pre-drilled in the side of the unit. Put the nut through. The hanger goes into a groove, metal groove right on the side of the feeder itself. Have a washer and then a wing nut to hold that in place. And again, don't have to tighten that down to any certain depth. Go ahead and turn the unit on the side again. Go ahead and get the other one in there. So as you can see, our hanger is on. We have 4 screws right here that will go into those pre-drilled spots in the bottom. Already, so right up through and into the unit itself. That way we have our hangers on. Put that down for a sec. Do need to get yourself a 6-volt lantern battery for this. And you have your control unit is showing ready at 12 p.m. as far as the time. Battery showing about half for this one. This was a used battery I did have. So we can hit our P for program, and it wants us to set the time. Let's just set it for 5 p.m. Hit the program button, and that would set our minutes. I'm going to leave it at 5 p.m. Alright, we have the time set and we're on ready. So now I can use the buttons here to set a feed. Here's one. We have actually 6 settings through here, so I'll set here it's set for 7 a.m. It's actually, that's a little early right now because that's right at dawn. I'm going to set this actually for about 7:45 or so. So now it's set for 7:45. And it's set to spin for 7 seconds, which is not bad. Gonna leave it there. And the RPM level, you can actually set how fast you want the motor to spin. Have a high, low, and medium. I'm going to leave it on a medium spin. Here's our feed 2, and we'll set this. This says 5, and that's actually a little late, or it's a little late because it's dark by then. So let's set that for 4 o'clock, which is actually a little bit better, 4 p.m. And again, a 7-second spin, and the RPM at medium. And we'll just let it stop, and we'll just let it go back to the clock. And here we are back at ready, so I have it set for 2 feedings. So we'll go ahead and do a test. It's going to come off in 8 seconds. Show you the spinner itself. Of course, no corn in it, or it's not attached to the unit. So there it is, set and ready. We'll have everything outside now. We'll go ahead and put the legs on, put the timer on the dispersing unit, set it up, throw a little corn in there, and we'll see what we have. I have the unit upside down, and we have our leg units, like first piece of it. So they just slide right in. There's no attaching, no screws on that. Let's get the rest of the leg pieces out and we'll put those in. And the leg units come in a box like this. Let's open this box unit up. Get a couple of these leg pieces out. I think they're all the same actually. So we'll get 3 out. Okay, we have all 3 of our leg sections together. They come in 4 pieces. They just fit together. They do come off easily, as you can see. Not held together with screws or anything, and it's not drilled through and screws holding anything together, screws and nuts, bolts. So we'll go ahead and turn this on its side, start to put a couple legs on, and then flip it up onto the other one. One thing with these leg sections, if you didn't want it as high off the ground for some reason, maybe so you could fill it a little bit easier, you could take a section off, and of course it wouldn't be as high, which does give you a little bit of flexibility. I'm going to actually take a look at it both ways and see what's best for me. I think I flipped it right out of the camera. So one thing we can see, let me go back for a second, but it's pretty darn tall. I'm trying to put a 50-pound bag of corn in there without some type of ladder. How can you do that? So let's take a look. Got a bucket here. I still can't get into that, so it's certainly pretty high. A lot higher than I need it, especially if you're taking that into the woods. That's not going to work out too good because you'll never be able to get that in there, and they get it pushed up with that 200 and some pounds of corn in there. So let's take one leg off each and then see how it is. Yeah, here we are down on 3 legs. Looks like a lot more manageable. Get to the lid, open it. Let me get that bucket. And I got the 5-gallon. Now I should be able to flip that lid over and be able to get some corn in there now. So unless you have your 4-wheeler with you and you're standing on the back of that 4-wheeler, this is certainly going to be pretty big, pretty tall with all 4 leg sections in there. Have the feeder unit here itself, the dispersing, and the timer unit, 8mm socket wrench for the 4 screws that are going to go into the feeder. So let's get that attached. All right, I have the disperser unit attached, the timer unit motor attached. This distance right here between the spinner plate and the funnel, you want to bring that down to about 3/4 of an inch or so. Let's get that adjusted. Spinner plate on, we got our battery connected. I'm not going to set the clock or do anything like that now because I did have it off last night. All we're going to do is a little test run. And we'll put this back in. Get some corn in there. Just a little bit. That should be good. Don't need to close the lid for this, but we will. There is a test button on there. Gives you about 10 seconds to close up the box, get out of the way. Let's hit that. Well, let's see how it does. So this is the Wildgame Innovations. This is the Monsta D. I think it just needs one more thing and we'll be finished. See if I can find it. Oh yeah, here it is. I think that finished it off quite nicely. This is White Rock 85, signing out from the Delmarva Peninsula